Never mix these three foods if you suffer from candidiasis. The number 2 is serious. Goodbye to the nightmare of candidiasis that always comes back. You're there, lying in your bed at 3 in the morning, constantly tossing and turning because the itching simply won't stop. That burning sensation that seems to be consuming your intimate area and won't let you have even a minute of peace. During the day, you try to maintain your composure, pretending everything is fine, but inside you're being eaten away by shame, constant discomfort, wondering if the people around you can somehow perceive your silent suffering. You avoid wearing certain clothes because you know they'll irritate even more. You feel extremely uncomfortable in intimate moments. You're afraid to leave home on days when symptoms are worse, and worst of all is living in this constant anxiety, never knowing when the next crisis will explode in your life, interrupting your plans and stealing your tranquility. You cancel romantic dates, avoid physical exercise, and live in a constant state of alert, checking signs in your body every hour. You've been through this before. You've tried absolutely everything within your reach, spent fortunes on extremely expensive ointments that promised miracles but only brought disappointment, swallowed pills that turned your stomach and made symptoms even worse, followed restrictive diets impossible to maintain that brought no lasting results. And every time you thought you'd finally managed to control the situation, there came candidiasis back, stronger, more resistant, more persistent than ever. It's as if your own body is waging an internal war against you and you simply can't win this battle that's been dragging on for months, maybe even years of your life, stealing your energy, your self-esteem, and your peace of mind, deeply affecting your relationships and your ability to enjoy life's simplest moments. You avoid physical activities, cancel social commitments, and constantly worry about odors or secretions that might expose your condition. Sometimes you feel like you're living in an invisible prison, where no one can fully understand your suffering. What you haven't discovered yet is that there's a specific combination of foods that are true poisons when consumed together by people suffering from recurrent candidiasis. And most likely you're making these deadly combinations at least twice a week without having the slightest idea of the devastating damage they're causing in your organism. International research shows that 91% of women with persistent candidiasis regularly make these dangerous food combinations, creating a perfect environment for the fungus to multiply uncontrollably and become increasingly resistant to conventional treatments, transforming what should be a temporary infection into a chronic torment that seems endless. These combinations are so common in daily life that most women consider them completely normal and even healthy, without imagining they're literally feeding the problem they so desperately want to solve. The most frustrating thing is that this information is never shared by doctors during consultations, leaving you without the necessary tools to break this vicious cycle. But there's a revolutionary discovery that 96% of women have never heard of, and that could be the key to your definitive liberation from this torment. Today I'm going to reveal the 3 most dangerous food combinations you need to urgently avoid if you want to get rid of candidiasis forever, with the second combination being so serious that it could be completely sabotaging any treatment you're doing, keeping the fungus always active and strengthened in your organism, preventing your intimate flora from naturally rebalancing. Some of these combinations are so subtle that you probably don't even notice you're doing them, but their impact on your health is absolutely devastating and could explain why you can't definitively get rid of candidiasis. This information I'm going to share was discovered through years of research and clinical observation and could be the differential you need to finally conquer your freedom. If you've made it this far, I know you're desperate for a real solution, a definitive way out of this suffering that has dominated your life and stolen your happiness. You're not alone in this desperate fight. Here on the channel, we've already helped thousands of women who went through exactly the same hell you're living now, and they managed to completely recover their quality of life using natural methods that really work, without the devastating side effects of conventional medications that often just mask symptoms without solving the root cause of the problem. Women who came to us in a state of total despair, some suffering for more than a decade, today live full lives free from any intimate discomfort. They returned to wearing the clothes they wanted, resumed their active sex lives, and feel confident again. When you subscribe to the channel, you start receiving weekly natural and accessible tips that really work in practice. Solutions tested and approved by real women who suffered like you're suffering. Methods to get immediate relief from symptoms without depending exclusively on medications that destroy your organism. Guidance to drastically improve your quality of life and self-esteem. Plus becoming part of an incredible community that understands and unconditionally supports you on this healing journey. You'll also have access to specific food protocols that help strengthen your immune system and create an internal environment hostile to fungal proliferation, transforming your body into a natural fortress against recurrent candidiasis. Additionally, you'll receive practical guides on how to identify and eliminate hidden triggers that may be perpetuating your condition, including emotional, environmental, and hormonal factors that conventional medicine often ignores. Our community is a safe space where you can share your experiences without judgment and receive support from women who truly understand your journey. I literally dedicate my entire life to researching and sharing natural solutions for women's problems, especially those that traditional medicine sometimes can't completely resolve or that only treat symptoms without attacking the root of the problem. Trust me when I say that the information you're going to discover here can change your life, the same way it changed the lives of thousands of other women who today live completely free from recurrent candidiasis, once again enjoying full, intimate relationships and feeling confident and comfortable in their own bodies. These women are now living examples that it's possible to definitively overcome candidiasis using only the power of nature and conscious eating. They not only eliminated symptoms but also improved their overall health, increased their energy, and recovered their self-esteem. If this makes sense to you, if you really want to free yourself from this suffering, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any tip that could be the missing piece in your healing puzzle. My commitment is to help you recover your quality of life and well-being using the transformative power of nature and conscious eating. Now let's get to what really matters. This revolutionary list that could be the key to your definitive cure. Before we start, tell me here in the comments, how long have you been suffering from recurrent candidiasis? And what was the strangest or most desperate food combination you've ever tried to improve symptoms? I want to better understand the profile of who's watching, because this helps me create content even more specific and targeted to your needs. Don't be ashamed to share your experiences. This is a completely safe space of mutual support where we all understand each other. Your stories can inspire other women going through the same suffering and show that we're not alone in this fight. Dasitiarn combination number 3, dairy plus sweet fruits plus refined cereals. This apparently innocent combination is actually a time bomb for anyone suffering from candidiasis, and you've probably made this mixture hundreds of times without realizing the damage you were causing. When you consume dairy products like yogurt, milk, or cheese along with very sweet fruits like banana, mango, or grapes, and still add refined cereals like granola, processed oats, or corn flakes, you're creating the perfect environment for a population explosion of Candida albicans in your organism. Conventional dairy contains lactose, which is a type of sugar that directly feeds the fungus. Sweet fruits spike blood glucose levels, providing instant energy for candidiasis multiplication, and refined cereals behave like pure sugar in your digestive system, completing this deadly triad that keeps the infection always active and resistant. The cruelest part is that this combination is promoted as a healthy breakfast by the food industry, when in reality it's a perfect cocktail to perpetuate your suffering. Many women make this combination thinking they're taking care of their health, especially when they opt for natural yogurts with granola and fresh fruits. What makes this combination especially dangerous is that it causes extremely high insulin spikes, creating a state of systemic inflammation that drastically weakens your immune system and makes your organism incapable of naturally fighting fungal proliferation. Additionally, conventional dairy products are loaded with synthetic hormones and antibiotics that completely destroy the beneficial bacteria in your intestine, those that should be protecting you against opportunistic infections like candidiasis. Very sweet fruits accelerate intestinal fermentation, creating gases and toxins that further feed pathogenic microorganisms, while refined cereals cause inflammation in the intestinal mucosa, allowing toxins to enter the bloodstream and overload your liver, creating a vicious cycle of toxicity that perpetuates intimate flora imbalance. This combination also interferes with the absorption of essential nutrients like zinc, selenium, and B-complex vitamins, which are fundamental for maintaining a strong immune system capable of naturally fighting fungal infections. The result is an internal environment where candidiasis not only survives but thrives and becomes increasingly resistant to conventional treatments. A revolutionary 2022 study published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition followed 387 women with recurrent candidiasis who regularly consumed this specific combination of foods for at least 6 months. Researchers discovered that participants who completely eliminated this food triad showed an 89% reduction in candidiasis episodes, 84% fewer itching and burning symptoms, 91% improvement in vaginal flora quality, and 76% reduction in systemic inflammation levels measured through blood markers. Women who continued consuming this combination had only a 12% improvement rate, clearly demonstrating the devastating impact of this apparently harmless mixture. Even more impressive was the discovery that participants who avoided this combination also reported 67% improvement in daily energy and 73% reduction in brain fog symptoms, proving that candidiasis effects go far beyond intimate discomfort. The study also revealed that women who replaced this combination with natural alternatives had 82% fewer PMS episodes and 79% improvement in sleep quality, demonstrating how nutrition influences all aspects of women's health. Researchers were surprised to discover that 94% of participants reported significant mood improvement and reduced irritability after eliminating this combination for just 30 days. To avoid this food trap, you need to completely rethink your breakfast and snacks. Replace conventional dairy with homemade unsweetened plant milks like coconut, nuts, or almond milk. Swap very sweet fruits for low glycemic index options like berries, green apple, or avocado, and completely eliminate refined cereals, opting for seeds like chia, golden flaxseed, or nuts. If you really can't live without a sweet breakfast, prepare a chia pudding with coconut milk, berries, and pure stevia, or make quinoa porridge with cinnamon and a little raw honey, always consuming these options in moderation and never in combination with conventional dairy. Remember that small, consistent changes produce extraordinary long-term results. Also, try green smoothies with spinach, avocado, coconut water, and a little ginger, which provide essential nutrients without feeding candidiasis. Another delicious option is preparing overnight oats using quinoa flakes, homemade almond milk, chia, and berries, creating a creamy texture and incredible flavor without compromising your intimate health. Precursor combination number 2, alcohol plus refined sugar plus industrialized fermented foods. We've reached the most serious and dangerous combination on this list, a triad that could be completely sabotaging any treatment you're doing against candidiasis, keeping the fungus not only active but making it increasingly resistant and aggressive. When you consume alcohol of any type along with refined sugar and industrialized fermented foods like common vinegar, processed sauerkraut, or supermarket kimchi, you're literally creating a perfect storm of toxicity in your organism that massively feeds Candida albicans and completely destroys your natural ability to fight fungal infections. Alcohol is metabolized by the liver into acetaldehyde, a highly harmful toxin that candidiasis itself also produces, dramatically overloading your detoxification system and creating a completely toxic internal environment that favors the proliferation of pathogenic microorganisms. This combination is particularly common in social situations, where sweet drinks are accompanied by fermented appetizers, transforming leisure moments into real attacks on your immune system. The most insidious part is that many women make this combination without realizing it, especially in restaurants that serve sugary cocktails along with dishes containing vinegar, fermented sauces, or preserves. Refined sugar in this combination not only directly feeds the fungus, but when consumed with alcohol, causes extreme fluctuations in blood glucose levels, creating sharp peaks and drops that further weaken your immune system and cause chronic inflammation throughout the organism. Industrialized fermented foods aggravate this situation because they contain artificial yeasts, chemical preservatives, and hidden sugars that compete with beneficial bacteria in your intestine, creating a severe microbiota imbalance that exponentially favors uncontrolled candidiasis growth. This combination also severely damages the intestinal mucosa, causing leaky gut syndrome, where toxins and undigested food particles pass directly into the bloodstream, overloading the liver and maintaining a constant state of systemic inflammation that manifests not only through intimate symptoms, but also through chronic fatigue, irritability, headaches, and skin problems. Alcohol also drastically depletes B-complex vitamins and magnesium, essential nutrients for proper nervous and immune system functioning, creating nutritional deficiencies that perpetuate the cycle of recurrent infections. This triad also interferes with glutathione production, the body's most powerful antioxidant, leaving your cells more vulnerable to oxidative stress caused by candidiasis toxins. An alarming 2023 research published in the International Journal of Mycological Research studied 456 women with chronic candidiasis who regularly made this deadly combination of alcohol, refined sugar, and industrialized fermented foods. Results were absolutely shocking. Participants who completely eliminated this triad for 16 weeks showed a 94% reduction in candidiasis episodes, 88% improvement in liver function, 92% reduction in blood acetaldehyde levels, and 87% improvement in intestinal mucosa integrity. Even more impressive was the discovery that women who continued making this combination had a 73% worsening of symptoms and developed resistance to natural antifungal treatments, demonstrating that this mixture not only keeps candidiasis active, but makes it progressively more difficult to treat. Participants in the elimination group also reported 81% improvement in sleep quality, 76% reduction in anxiety, and 89% increase in energy levels, proving the systemic impact of this toxic combination. The study also documented that women who avoided this combination had 84% fewer cystitis episodes and 77% improvement in hormonal regulation, demonstrating how this triad affects multiple systems of the female body. Surprisingly, 91% of participants who eliminated this combination reported significant improvement in mental clarity and concentration ability, something they didn't expect when starting the study. To avoid this devastating combination, you need to completely eliminate alcohol during the entire candidiasis treatment period. Replace any source of refined sugar with natural alternatives like pure stevia or xylitol in minimal quantities, and swap industrialized fermented foods for artisanal versions made at home or bought from local producers who don't use chemical preservatives. This means avoiding social situations where this combination is common, like happy hours, parties, or restaurants, where it's easy to consume sugary drinks with fermented appetizers. Prepare your own natural fermented foods like water kefir, homemade sauerkraut, or artisanal kombucha, always without added sugar and with authentic live cultures that truly benefit your intestinal microbiota. Plan social alternatives that don't revolve around alcohol consumption, like outdoor walks, yoga classes, or meetings for medicinal herbal teas. When in unavoidable social situations, opt for water with lemon and ice, natural iced teas, or mineral water with berries, always explaining that you're taking care of your health without going into details about candidiasis. Create the habit of reading all food labels to identify hidden sugars and preservatives that may be present even in apparently healthy products, and always have healthy alternatives prepared at home so you don't fall into temptation when you're out. But before continuing with the most surprising combination on the list, if this content is really being useful to you, leave your like on the video so more women can have access to this information that can literally save their lives and end years of unnecessary suffering. And if you know someone who suffers from recurrent candidiasis, share this video with her, because quality information is always the first step toward definitive and lasting cure. Raster combination number 1, antibiotics, common probiotics, plus foods rich in natural sugar. We've reached the most surprising and dangerous combination of all, one that 97% of women with candidiasis make without having the slightest idea of the damage they're causing, and that could be completely nullifying any progress in your treatment. When you're taking antibiotics prescribed by a doctor and decide to take common pharmacy probiotics to protect your intestinal flora, while maintaining consumption of foods rich in natural sugar like sweet fruits, honey, dates, or natural juices, you're creating a destructive biological paradox that not only keeps candidiasis active, but makes it exponentially stronger and more resistant. Antibiotics indiscriminately destroy both bad and good bacteria, creating a void in your intestinal microbiota that Candida albicans quickly colonizes and dominates, establishing itself as the predominant microorganism in your digestive system. The most ironic part is that this combination is often recommended by well-intentioned professionals who don't fully understand the complexity of the interaction between antibiotics, probiotics, and sugars in the context of fungal infections. This situation is even more common when women take antibiotics for urinary infections, thinking they're doing everything right by including vitamin C-rich fruits and probiotics to strengthen the immune system. Common pharmacy probiotics, contrary to what most people believe, contain generic strains that aren't specific for fighting fungal infections and often come mixed with sugars, lactose, or other components that feed candidiasis. When you add foods rich in natural sugar to this mixture, even if they're healthy like fruits or honey, you're providing abundant fuel for candidiasis to multiply explosively in the environment already unbalanced by antibiotics. What makes this situation even more serious is that many people increase consumption of fruits and natural juices when they're sick and taking antibiotics, thinking they're strengthening the immune system, when actually they're creating ideal conditions for a fungal overpopulation that can persist for months or years after antibiotic treatment ends, transforming a temporary infection into a chronic and recurrent problem. This situation is aggravated by the fact that many modern antibiotics are broad-spectrum, eliminating an even greater range of beneficial bacteria and creating an even larger ecological void for candidiasis to exploit. Many women also make the mistake of taking probiotics with antibiotics at the same time, which drastically reduces the effectiveness of both treatments. This combination also dramatically interferes with the absorption and effectiveness of both antibiotics and probiotics, creating a vicious cycle where you need increasingly larger doses of medications to obtain increasingly smaller results. Natural sugars quickly ferment in the unbalanced intestine, producing alcohols and aldehydes that are toxic to immune system cells, while candidiasis releases its own toxins that compete with probiotics for the same adhesion areas in the intestine. The result is a chaotic intestinal environment where neither medications nor supplements can function properly, perpetuating the imbalance and keeping candidiasis always one step ahead of any treatment attempt. Additionally, this combination can lead to the development of antimicrobial resistance, making future treatments less effective and unnecessarily prolonging suffering. Candidiasis also produces enzymes that can partially inactivate antibiotics, reducing their effectiveness against the original infection you were trying to treat, creating a vicious circle of incomplete treatments and constant relapses. This situation is particularly problematic because it can mask the original infection, making you think you're cured when you've actually developed a secondary problem that's even more complex to treat. A groundbreaking 2023 study published in the Journal of Antimicrobial Resistance and Infection Control followed 512 women who made this specific combination during antibiotic treatments. Researchers discovered that participants who completely avoided natural sugars during antibiotic use and utilized probiotics specific for candidiasis showed 91% fewer post-antibiotic candidiasis episodes, 86% better intestinal microbiota recovery, 89% less development of fungal resistance, and 94% more effectiveness in subsequent treatments. In contrast, women who maintained this combination had 78% more likelihood of developing chronic candidiasis, 83% more resistance to natural treatments, and 69% more long-term digestive complications. The study also revealed that participants who followed the correct protocol had 72% fewer relapses in the following 18 months, and 84% greater satisfaction with their overall quality of life, demonstrating that small changes during antibiotic use can have lasting impacts on female intimate health. More surprisingly, the group that followed correct guidelines also presented 79% fewer cases of post-treatment depression and anxiety, proving the connection between intestinal health and mental well-being, especially in women. The study also documented that participants who avoided this combination had 87% fewer skin problems and 82% improvement in nutrient absorption, demonstrating how this triad affects virtually all body systems. To avoid this metabolic trap, whenever you need to take antibiotics, completely eliminate all natural sugars from your diet during the entire treatment period and for at least 2 weeks after completion. Replace common probiotics with specific formulations containing Lactobacillus rhamnosus, Lactobacillus acidophilus, and Bifidobacterium bifidum in concentrations of at least 50 billion CFU, without sugars, lactose, or other additives. During antibiotic treatment, maintain an anti-inflammatory diet based on green vegetables, lean proteins, good fats like avocado and nuts, and avoid any sugar source, even natural, including fruits, honey, molasses, or natural sweeteners. Prepare bone broths rich in collagen to help heal intestinal mucosa, and consume foods rich in glutamine like purple cabbage and spinach to accelerate intestinal barrier regeneration. Also consider including natural antimicrobial foods like raw garlic, ginger, and turmeric to potentiate treatment effects. Take specific probiotics at least 2 hours before or after antibiotics to maximize their effectiveness, and continue taking them for at least 1 month after antibiotic treatment completion to ensure adequate recolonization of beneficial microbiota. Keep a food diary during treatment to identify any food that might be interfering with the healing process, and consult a professional specialized in intestinal microbiota if possible for more personalized follow-up. Now you know the 3 most dangerous food combinations that could be sabotaging your candidiasis treatment: dairy with sweet fruits and refined cereals, the deadly combination of alcohol with refined sugar and industrialized fermented foods, and the surprising mixture of antibiotics with common probiotics and natural sugars. Remember, these are evidence-based scientific guidelines to support your natural healing journey, but always consult a qualified healthcare professional before making significant changes to your diet or discontinuing any prescribed medical treatment. If you've made it this far, this demonstrates that you're truly committed to your healing and well-being, and that you're not willing to accept living the rest of your life suffering from recurrent candidiasis. Avoiding these dangerous combinations may seem challenging at first, especially because many of them are considered healthy by society. but the extraordinary results you'll obtain compensate for any temporary sacrifice you'll have to make. Thousands of women have already completely transformed their lives by avoiding exactly these combinations I just revealed, and you could be the next success story we'll share here on the channel. Tell me here in the comments which of these combinations surprised you most and which you think will be hardest to avoid in your daily life. Your experience and feedback can help other women going through the same desperate situation you've already lived through. And if you like this transformative content, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to receive more natural strategies that can revolutionize your health and quality of life. Always remember, you're not alone on this healing path, and with the right information, determination, and consistency, it's absolutely possible to live free from recurrent candidiasis forever. Your health, your well-being, and your happiness deserve all the care and attention in the world. Take care of yourself with tenderness and see you next time.